Pretty impressive. Very, very impressive. Super impressive. Thank you, guys. So I'll keep my piece short because we have a lot of people here who has questions. Like a lot of us have questions. So we'll get to you. But this is like a dream come true for me. So for me. I feel like we're in the same boat here. And so, how do you feel? Like my first question, like how do you feel about being here witnessing? This is like completely surreal from yesterday, from last night to now. It is like, no, I can't find words. So it's really Q&A. You have to find words. Okay, what can I say? I want more. So, as I was mentioning before we started the screenings, this was my first time seeing Eega on the big screen with proper English subtitles, and we'd seen it at home or whatever. Having seen it in the theater in its initial run without subtitles, it was just an incredible experience to see this many people. I saw it, on day one with the Telugu audience in Dallas, and they were all they knew what they were coming into, right? This crowd did not. And so, most of you hadn't seen it. Who had seen Eega coming in? A decent number, right? But that's still less than half, right? So, witnessing that, and that's the guys in the back. So, first of all, I want to acknowledge who else is here with Rajamouli. It's filmmaking is a collaborative practice, right? It's a lot of team members. So we do have Rajamouli, who does the costumes for. We have Charan, who's the line producer. We have Charan, who's the line producer as well. We have many members of Charan, who's the other there, who's the producer of But what was funny is we were watching Eega together. I was way in the back with us or whatever, and they told me outside that I was the most excited person in the room. And it's because, I've seen this movie so many times, and it's not just the joy of watching all of the most insane, awesome things happen. It's the joy of watching it with all of you guys out there. So that's just, it's amazing. So, one of the things that I really truly love about your films, and just having finished Bahubali 2 now, is the fact that you're able to, there are no loose ends in a Rajamouli film. Anything that is set up pays off. Every single thing. And so how important is that in the writing process? Okay, it's very important. The way I work is like I have the high points, and there is a path that is leading to the high point. So in this path, I try to make it as interesting as possible. So I create those small nuggets or whatever. And in that process, I try to connect these nuggets to the bigger high points that comes later. It's a kind of writing process that we develop over the years. So I love it a lot, but I think there is one loose end in Bahubali 2, which says, as the rolling title goes off, so a small kid asks, so Mahendra Bahubali's son will become the next king, right? He said, because Bahubali's son has become the king. So then the king's son will become the son, and the priest answers, how do I know? It is the Lord Shiva who decides the thing. So that's a kind of thing which is saying that there is more to the story. You heard it here. I I left it up to him. It was so yeah, it's wonderful. The other thing that I think is really tremendous about your work, and we saw it last night with Triple R and with all of your films, is that it seems that you and Vijay or Prasad are as interested in writing compelling villains as you are compelling heroes. And I think that's one of the things that's really tremendous about these films is that we were watching at the beginning of the first Bahubali when Bahubali was being introduced, that the audience was cheering as he was doing amazing feats. He was defeating the bull. He's a hero in his own right. He just happens to be on the wrong side. So how important is that when you're writing process that you create a villain who is a true foe for your heroes?
Absolutely important, Josh. I can't stress the importance of creating the villain. In fact, I take more time. I spend more energy in creating my villains as best I can do, because once the villain is created, all the hero needs to do is beat him. So in Bahubali is the title character. Bahubali is the hero. Bahubali 1. The film is named after him, but he was not the first creator that was created. First character that was created. Baladeva was created. Sivagami was created. Kattappa was created. Then in the process of tying these threads, we created Bahubali. So for me, villains are very, very important, and I think you know the answer. To date, my best villain is Sudeep. Coming to almost because I also don't see, like you were saying, Baladev as a complete villain. He's opposite.
No.
Both of us.
Oh, damn.
No, I'm dead too. This is the red mic again.
Speak loudly.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, there's a mic. I can do that.
We can talk?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Okay. So also that because Ballal Deva is not like a real villain. He is like an opponent to Bahubali. But Sudeep in Eega is a real. No.
Oh,
I
back.
Okay, so Ballal Deva was the Sudeep was the kind of villain that you really want to kill them. Today morning, yesterday RRR we all enjoyed because the reception was like totally crazy. Even I came here, Bahubali 2, I couldn't watch Bahubali 1, Bahubali 2, I was watching with the audience. It was exhilarating because I was watching with the audience, I was watching the reactions. But when I sat in the morning after I introduced Eega and I was sitting at the back, I wanted to watch the film. Forget the audience, whether here or not, I wanted to watch the film.
It has been some time before. I think the last time I watched Eega was almost 7 years back or something. So just sitting there and watching, I really didn't want to go. But this guy said I had some meeting, I wanted to kill him. I had to go. And then after the meeting was over, the film was also over here, and he comes back to me and says, we all cried in the theater after watching the reception. You should have been there. And I really wanted to kill him. So yeah, it's amazing. The villain characters, of course, today he's the villain, but generally, villain characters are the way to go forward for me.
Well, and with Eega especially, like it's Sudeep is such a tremendous performer, and the fact that not only is he he's essentially the lead. Like, you know, Nani's there and he's great, Samantha's there and she's great, but Nani's gone after half an hour or whatever. And so you have that performer who's not, if you didn't know, not a native Telugu performer. He's from Karnataka, and he's acting against nothing. It's all CG that he's acting against, and he puts in such a great performance in that film. It's absolutely wonderful.
Coming to that point, one thing I want to say about acting without having a character in front, which is not actually difficult for the actors because all the time the actors are in their own kind of space. Suppose there is a two shot, we both are talking and I can talk to you, but if I want to put a camera here and take my close up, then I am not talking to you. I have to imagine you in my mind because all I can see is a cameraman, camera, all the people holding cutters or lights around that. I won't be seeing you, so still I have to act. But the actors have understood how to do that. But in Eega, there is no actor, there is just a fly, and the fly is also not there. And I will be saying the fly will be doing this kind of stuff for you and you have to act to that. Now imagine you had to act to a fly that is flying around in a path that I imagine it to fly, not what you are imagining. So that makes it even more difficult. And I think Sudeep really has to have some kind of power to look into the director's mind and understand what I see. He did a fantastic job with that.
Speaking of the idea that you have this performance, you know, sort of telepathic with you, and is able to see what you want. You don't have to communicate that just to him. Like, it has to be communicated to the entire crew. And specifically, you've got Santha Kumar, your cinematographer, who does incredible work. And with Eega, having watched it, I haven't watched it in a few years either, and so having watched it again today, I hadn't necessarily forgotten, but it's just coming back to me, all the wild things you have him do. You know, especially the first few sequences, once we have Nani as a fly. So how did you sort of conceptualize all of the, you know, the birth of the fly, the bubbles are incredible, that scene of the bubbles, the tennis ball, the shoes, all that stuff. How do you communicate that to your crew to have them be able to create what you're thinking?
One thing is we see a lot of references of the films that are done before to understand the scale difference. It is unimaginably big, the scale between a fly and a human being. So first we need to understand that stuff. Then we do the storyboards, concept arts, previews, and do all that stuff. The difference between previews and actually shooting is like in previews you don't need to worry about your lenses, your camera movements, everything. But now when we get to the real shooting spot, so in previews the camera can go as low as possible. But in real life, the lens will restrict your movement and how low you can go. So obviously even the camera lens is much bigger than a fly, right? So then we got lenses, some probe lenses which are smaller so they can come really go low onto the table. But the problem with the probe lens is that the depth of field is very low. So it is like you get the depth in centimeters. So if I place the camera there, then everything is out of focus, then we can't see the scale. So to increase the depth, the cameraman has to really pump in the light. Really pump in the light. And it is a hot oven to sit in that spot. All the lights burning there, so we set it up, and literally the makeup man, everyone had to be ready with cold towels for Sudeep and Samantha. Yes, because it's so hot, they go sit in that spot, do emotional scenes, what they have to do, and the moment they say cut, they jump out of the seats to cold towel, and just Don't put it across their faces. I mean, Sindhil did it, and any time we place a close-up along with Eega, they used to glare at Sindhil, and Sindhil is a guy who doesn't care about what the actors feel. In fact, he doesn't care about what I feel. He just wants to get his visual right.
Yeah, perfect. So between, I think I mentioned it earlier privately, so I think Charan earlier. We went from last night with Triple R, and so like the biggest heroes ever down to the smallest protagonist in a film potentially ever, and then from Eega to Bahubali is a huge jump in terms of scale. Like the story of Eega is tremendous. But then you go from that, a film where you have, if you're not familiar with Telugu films, you have essentially no big name stars, right? Nani was just starting out, Samantha was just starting out. And then you go from there to Bahubali, which is a quantum leap in terms of scale, budget, I assume, also, the production scale. I mean, I was there for a day on the set of Bahubali. It was huge. So how was that adjustment? I mean, because you've done with my year, October 21st, come back to with my year, you've done sort of a dry run, a practice of this sort of period epic thing, and just to see how it worked, and it worked out really well, obviously. So how is it to scale that up to not only a feature, but this immense duology of films?
From the beginning of my career, I thought if I get a very big successful film, I shouldn't immediately jump on to another big film because everyone will expect me to do the same thing what I did in the previous film. So if I keep continuing that, then I'm making the same film again and again essentially. So when I got my first big hit, Simhadri, my second film, I could work with any top star after that film, but I chose to work with students, college students, and picked up a game of rugby which no one knew in India, and made a film called Sai. Then again, when I got Magadhira, the biggest blockbuster at that time, instead of going for another big film, I did Maryadramana. Then came Eega. Interestingly, Eega was supposed to be shot on, I forgot the camera's name, there used to be one small camera, a video camera. My idea was to shoot with that. Then I thought I would shoot the film in 30 days. And the budget was, what we estimated was below 1 crore. 1 crore is like $250,000. So that was my idea to do it. As a very, very small concept film. Well, I ended up spending 2 years on the film, spent 30 crores on the film, that is
I don't have my calculator.
30 to $2,500, sorry, $250,000. Yeah, so, but the idea is to always make a small film first, because my mind is always going on the trying to go big. I wanted to go down to make a small film before I go that. So it is not a difficult transition for me. So bigness is always there in my mind.
Or apparently going bigger next time we talked about last night. So we have people here. They want to ask questions, right?
Yes,
Ask
question.
Okay,
The lady who had me first.
Hi, sorry. I should probably stand so you can hear me better. Can you guys hear me? Yes! I just want to say, one, you owe us, because you got us addicted with RRR, so you owe us. And know that you have a fan base here that is not just Indians. It is a growing fan base that loves you, and all you need is capital and distribution. please don't forget us on your next, going to go across Africa, right?
No way no way I can forget the kind of love and support you showed to my community.
Real quick, before we start taking questions, they must be questions, not statements. We know you love the film. You're here, so thank you for that. We appreciate it, correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So questions. I'm gonna go here, the black shirt. Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, my voice is very hoarse from cheering for 10 hours.
We'll forgive that.
Thank you so much for coming to America and gracing all of us. Your characters, Sivagami, Devasana, there's like incredible, powerful female characters in this film that are not just beautiful and smart, but they're clever and cunning, and their words are slicing. Who are your inspirations for these amazing, powerful women?
You said clever, cunning, and
Smart, intelligent, they're brutal, but they're full of love and empathy, and they're powerful. Like nothing beats the love of a mother.
okay.
Oh,
Yes.
hold on, real quick. Your wife is in the room.
Yeah. Even he knows that. So, yes, my inspiration for Sivagami is, in a way, I can't say she's the reason, but in a way, the inspiration is my my sister-in-law, Srivalli. My inspiration for Devasena is my wife, Rajamouli. I don't say I have modeled them on them, but yeah, unknowingly they influence my life a lot.
That's what wives do. All right, who's up next? Let's go here.
Hi. You mentioned that you focus on the villains first, which makes sense structurally, but I'm wondering, in terms of like conflicting them with the protagonist, but I'm wondering if the villains come first, or like the concept or a set piece or the idea first, because like Eega is a very specific idea. Did you come up with the villain for that first, or the just concept of the reincarnated fly first?
For each film it is different. For Eega, obviously it's a concept. It's a concept, but in the concept itself, there is a villain. The concept of Eega is like there is a nice boy who gets killed by a villain, and the boy is reborn as a fly, and the fly wants to take revenge on the villain. So in the concept itself, the villain is there. When I said I spend more, it's not necessarily the villain comes first, but I spend more time and energy in designing the villain first. Again, in Bahubali, during Bahubali, it is Baladeva who came first, not Bahubali. So, and in Bahubali is also not a concept. It's not a concept film. It is a big palace intrigue kind of film. So in Bahubali, we created the characters, then started weaving the story around those characters. So each film is different. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
All right, I want to go over here.
Hello sir, Namaste. Congratulations for our My question is that Gautam Menon in an interview he said that he would like to be an assistant director to Maniratnam if possible. So we as a filmmakers, we wanted to work with you but if you want to be an AD to some director, I want to rule out Mel Gibson and Puri Jagannath. So if you want to work as an AD to any director, dead or alive, who would come? Who's it?
I mean, you told me
No.
two choices. I mean, these two people are something that I really can learn from them. Mel Gibson, I want to watch him work and see how he's designing things. And Puri Jagannath, I want to see how in the world is it possible to come up with ideas that are so compelling and shoot them in that short period of a time. So those two things I really want to learn. If it is not that, who would, I mean, there are so many names. The one name that comes to my mind immediately is, many of you might not know, it is a great director from Telugu called K.V. Reddy garu. So he made great films. I mean, in a way, he wrote the screenplay, the screenplay master class for how a commercial film should be in Telugu, in way back in 1950. So I respect and I adore him a lot. Yeah, if given a chance, I would like to just give it here.
Let's go right down here, Christina.
I was wondering if there was a genre of film that you haven't done yet that you would like to try.
But it is horror. It is.
I haven't done horror, and I hate horror. I don't want to do science fiction, but again, there are few films. I have seen very few horror films, but I have seen some. I don't know whether you call it horror or not, but Omen is a great film. I love that film. And I can't remember which other films that I've seen. Then recently I've seen, not recently, a few years back, I've seen Paranormal Activity. I love both the films. I think I like horror. I like to see horror, but without all the ghastly faces. It's certainly something coming out of the closet, and I don't like that kind of horror. But as a concept-wise, if I can make the people feel in the horror, yeah, maybe I should try that.
I mean, I just watched you direct a guy shoot an arrow through another guy's severed head into his scenes. So you kind of in you. All right, let's go here in the blue shirt.
Hey, I was curious about during Eega, directing The Fly itself. Did you have like the actor who played Nani? Did you use him at all to like direct the CGI fly, or how'd you do that?
No, I didn't do that. Interestingly, we were writing the story, writing the scenes. As we were developing the scenes, when we think about how we are going to shoot, the questions that arose in the writing department, in my HOD department, and said how, okay, the fly gets angry at this point, so how do I show the anger? So the most obvious thing everyone suggested was that, okay, you go very tight close to the fly and we show Nani's face posted on the fly. I said, no. Then started some more sessions of we go very close and we go to the fly has a very big multiple hexagonal lenses eye. We can have a kind of black dot like a grasshopper has, so we can play with that and show the expressions in the fly. No one knows whether a grasshopper kind of eye is existing on Eega or not, a fly or not, because no one has seen it. Very few people would have seen it. I said, no, that's not going to happen. When you go tight close up to the fly, it will look like a fly. So how are you going to show it angry? I said, that's not my job, it's the job of the animator. As a director, this is how I want it, and they need to figure it out. And they did figure it out. Yeah, they showed all their.
So many hands. Let's go back here. Thomas, that's you.
Do you have any interest in doing some boutique label physical releases, Blu-ray?
Oh,
Josh,
yeah.
you make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, for many years, I thought that was completely gone, extinct. I thought it has gone extinct because in India it's definitely gone extinct because there are streaming platforms, there are digital releases, there are YouTubes or whatever. But recently when I came to America, our friends started telling me, no, it still exists, not just in America, many parts of the world, it still exists. Home video, Blu-ray DVD is a big thing. Now I don't know what are the deals with the streaming platforms. If we have the rights, we will definitely release. But I don't know what are the deals that are made with the.
There are some rat's nests of of rights issues we're working on. So we've got that. We're thinking about it. Let's go here. I've seen your hand, Coach.
Sir, first of all, I've lost count the number of times I've seen Bahubali and I still have goosebumps. Thank you. And my question is, with every film, you gain so much experience, especially with the kind of films you make. So now looking back at your filmography, do you think you could have done something different in any of your earlier films with the experience that you've gained so far?
So many things, and me and my line producer, who also happens to be my sister-in-law, sitting in the back seat and constantly complaining to each other how many shots we got wrong in the film. So yes, of course, there are many things that that can be corrected. Yeah, almost given a chance, I correct so many things that I can. The only thing I can do the rest of my life is go correct them. So I think better I make new films rather than correcting them.
So I want to go way back there. Let's go way back there. Is that you, Adam?
Yeah. Hey, how complex are your previs? Are they fully animated? Do they have sound? Is it the whole movie? Is it just set pieces? How much do you do and are they 3D animated? Are they a series of stills? Do you do timing? What is that process like?
So pre-visualization essentially is the meaning of the word. Before we get it onto the screen, we visualize it how it needs to be. So that can be done in many ways, as you know. We do a lot of previs. Sometimes it's concept art, sometimes it's storyboards, sometimes it's animated storyboards, sometimes it's previs. Previs usually is not a very low poly mode, but at the same time it's not very high quality also. It is just enough to for everyone to understand what is the kind of lens, what is background, what is the actor doing, to understand that. We do a lot of stunt viz, especially when it comes to the action sequences. We get our stuntmen to perform the whole stunt sequence. Not one shot will be shot without doing on the stunt viz first. So, and most interestingly is that if it's a simple scene, even if it's a simple scene, I will make my ADs act the scene and place my camera, shoot it. So that's also pre-visualization. We are pre-visualization. So I think we have made the film at least 99% completely on previs before it's actually shot. The complexity of previs, I think just 1 or 2 episodes, just to get the hang of it, we go for the high-end previs. On YouTube, you can find the high-end previs we have done for Beam's introduction when the tiger chase. That's the extent of high-end previs we go for, but we do that for very few scenes, not all of them.
Yeah. I want to go to the back. Let's see. I got way back there. And check your shirt. That's you. Hit it.
The music in your film. Sorry, I'm horse food cheering too.
We'll allow it.
Yeah, the music in your films is incredible. When does the scoring get involved? Is that all later, or are you building sequences to match some of the themes that you get early on?
Again, I think it looks like all you guys know everything about me and my films, but for people who don't know, the music director of all my films happens to be my elder brother, my he has done amazing work. He worked for all 250 films. He composed music for 250 films. There are 2 components of Indian films. You notice that there are songs and there is background score. You're essentially asking about background score. I love working with my cousin, with my brother on the background score. So I'm very particular about what kind of music I need, where it should start, how it should end, and I give him very little freedom in doing so. And there are times when we pre-recorded the music. For example, Bahubali, intro sequence, the whole coronation sequence, the music was pre-recorded, and we shot the whole scene for the music. So there are times sometimes that I do work that way, but most of the time we shoot the scene and then like in a regular process do the music. But one thing that my brother does is that if he feels the music is not playing out the proper way, he asks me to re-edit the scene. So I did that many times. I don't do that also many times, but sometimes I do that. On the other part of it, when it comes to the songs, I'm very bad at judging a tune whether it becomes a popular chart buster or not. So in that case, I give him more leverage. I don't say this is the one I want, but at the same time, okay, probably you don't know this or don't know this. The sound supervisor of the film, Kala Bhairava, is my brother's son. And Kartikeya, Kala Bhairava, the children in the family, they help me a lot in selecting the tune that is right for that particular situation. Yeah, the only person that we completely disregard when it comes to the songs is my wife. She hates music. Sorry, Rama. All right, let's way in the back. I see you. Yes, with mask.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for putting solution on the map. I really enjoy your film. I noticed in your film, Hinduism is beautifully portrayed. I'm not a Hindu, but I really enjoy it and I find it very inspiring. My question is, how deliberate is it, or what's your approach?
There are two things. Many people think Hinduism is a religion. It is in the present context, but before Hinduism, the religion, there existed Hinduism, the dharma. How do I say it? It is a way of life. It is a philosophy. So, if you take the religion, I am also not a Hindu. So, if you take the dharma, I am very much Hindu. So when I portray in the film, what I'm portraying is actually a way of life that existed for many centuries or eons behind. So I try to portray that. If you see RRR, when Ram Charan, after he turns into almost before you see him in that saintly getup, he utters a Sanskrit verse. No, Karmanyavadikaraste Mahaleshu Tadashana is a Sanskrit sloka from Bhagavad Gita. You can look at it as it is Lord Krishna has told Arjuna, so it is Hindu religion verse. But if you look at the meaning of it, the meaning of that is what's being taught for Indians, irrespective of their caste, where they're born, how to live their life. Not look at the result of what you do, but looking at the effort that you put in. No, that is what Hindu Dharma says. So I'm a follower of Hindu Dharma.
All right, we are getting to the waves. We have one question left.
Can I have? I came all the way from Houston, please. I came all the way from Houston, Texas. Can I have the last question?
All right, we'll go to Houston, yeah, sure. Make it good.
Yeah. Hello, Rajamouli garu, ela unnaru? No.
I specifically said no statements.
No, yeah. No, I was just reading him.
Okay. How am I doing?
Yeah. So, basically, I thought there won't be much people since 2016 movie. I thought I can have 3-4 questions, but I don't have that space. So I picked one good question, which I think that's a good question. So it's not uncommon in our Indian films to show our heroes like superheroes who can do like superhero things, right? So when the movie is hit, nobody talks about or nobody trolls anything about it. When a movie fails, everybody starts trolling about it. So how do you take a call on that? How do you make your judgment call? How far or what extent you can go to show your hero with all the superpowers, what he can do, like jumping from 100 feet, 200 feet, or pulling up the cranes and all that?
I mean, Bahubali 1, in the beginning, I have seen the hero who is trying to climb a waterfall, and he's been failing multiple times. So I introduced hero failing in an attempt, which is not common in Indian films, right? But after some time, you see him succeeding. So what is the difference between that and this?
He had the practice, and he trained and he trained how to do it. And
No, he didn't train, right?
I mean,
he was the same. He was
right.
the same. But only this time he's charged by an emotion called love.
Right.
So when a human being becomes emotional, he does things that are completely out of his bounds. And we have multiple examples in real life of what human beings did when they're emotionally charged. So what I do is like, how can I make him emotionally charged up? So that is what I worry about, not the reception. Karmani Varkas.
Sorry, folks, we are finished, but thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.